the sacristy and the chapter house. Once we leave the church, we can find another place rich in charm and beauty, the sacristy. Its decoration, dating back to the 16th century, is a notable example of the celebration of the order and the result of a specific iconography wanted by the Dominicans. It is rectangular in shape with an hemispherical vault which presents a series of frescoed lunettes with portraits of distinguished Dominicans whose names are written in Gothic fonts at the basis of every lunette. The pendentives are adorned with grotesque on a decorated background, and the vault shows circular medallions with images of the evangelists and fathers of the church intertwined with griefs and frames in perspective.
In the past, the sacristy was wrongly believed the chapter house of the monastery, which, on the contrary, is easily recognizable in the adjoining room because of its typical entrance and the two windows. Besides the most well-known figures seen on the walls of the church, we can see other figures who are less famous but that contributed to the religious activity and the oratory art of the Dominican order. One of these personalities is Sant'Antonino from Florence, who was a theologian, archbishop and a scholar. He is depicted with episcopal features. In fact, he was the Archbishop of Florence.
The figure of Beata Rosanna Andreasi is also important. She was a young lady who was related to the Gonzaga. Her beatification took place in 1510. Another important presence is that of Beato Gualda, portrayed with a mitre and a crozier, who was also one of the first disciples of Saint Dominic, who is also represented with a church in his hand to remind the fact that he was the founder of the religious order.
The iconography of Alberto Magno, German bishop and theologian, started long before the canonization. That's why he's depicted as a doctor of theology with a Dominican attire and episcopal mitre. To conclude, we have to highlight two Dominican popes, the French Pope Innocenzo V, whose papacy lasted less than 1 year in 1276, and the Italian Pope Benedict XI, who was in charge of the church in 1303. The frescoes of the sacristy represent a sort of Dominican artistic propaganda, generally used in places such as chapter houses, libraries, and refectories. The most known figures are the ones of St. Peter Martyr, recognizable because of the cleaver stuck in his head.